I think it might be helpful to explain the context of what this vote is. What we're voting on today is the legislative equivalent of a double negative. This is the repeal of a repeal. It leaves the original rule in place that regulated methane that was in place until several years ago when, or a year ago, when it was repealed by the Trump administration. So what this action today technically is a repeal of the repeal, which leaves the original rule in place.
A repeal of the repeal with great appeal.
No, leave it to my friend the poet over here. Jeez. I have to put up with this quite regularly, you should know. Regulating methane is the low-hanging fruit of climate action. It is the simplest, most straightforward thing that we can do immediately to make a significant change in terms of greenhouse gases, both here and abroad. If we lead, if we do this, then it enables other countries to do this. If we don't do it, other countries are going to say, why should we do it? You're not doing it. So that's what's so important about the vote today, is it's not only a vote that will affect us here in this country, but I believe it will have ripples and repercussions around the world. Let me make an important point about here. Why don't we just?
Yeah, bring it over. We'll hold it. I'll hold it.
Natural gas has great advantages over coal and oil in terms of emissions per pound or per cubic foot, or however you want to measure it. This is the comparison: natural gas, propane, heating oil, and coal. The problem is, if you include the methane releases, here's where natural gas comes out. It loses its environmental advantage. And that's why many of the major companies that deal in natural gas and oil want to see this regulation put back in place, because they're going to lose their bragging rights, if you will, in terms of improvement of air quality if this is the level, which is propane plus methane, which comes from drilling and transportation. So this is important. In fact, no, I can't say it any better than this. Regulating methane emissions from oil and gas production is the right thing to do for our climate and the air quality of communities across the country. It's widely acknowledged that methane is a highly potent greenhouse gas with global warming potential 80 times greater than CO2. That's 80 times, not 80% greater, 80 times greater. Beyond the long-term impacts related to climate change, methane emissions have implications for local air quality. We owe it to the communities where we live and work to reduce these emissions. That's not Angus King, that's Shell Oil. That's a direct quote from a press release from Shell Oil. They understand this. And they and many of the other major oil and gas companies are supporting this action today. So I'm with Martin Heinrich and Chuck and Brother Markey that this is a tremendous opportunity. It should get a tremendous vote. This isn't industry versus regulation. This is common sense in favor of our ability to save the planet. It really comes down to that. I believe this is the most important environmental vote of this decade. And it is going to really have almost an immediate impact, I mean within the next year, on the global warming potential for the gases that are being released into the atmosphere. So I'm looking forward to the vote this afternoon, and I believe that this is one that, as Martin said, this should be easy. This is an easy and important step for this country and indeed for the world. Thank you.